Conference. We're going to build the best football program in the SEC Conference.
You have now arrived at Stadium in Gale.
The kick, it's been blocked again! How about it? It's been blocked again! It's going to heat one deep down the field. It's going to be to the goal line. It's going to be gone! It's a touchdown! And the Gators have won the game! Tyree Cleveland! How about it? I can't believe what I just saw! Dropping back to throw. Thompson fires the ball over the middle. It's Dory! It's Dory! Got a touchdown! Dory got a touchdown! Oh, man! Dory's got a touchdown! Ahmad Black, in his final game as a Gator, takes it all the way home and sends Urban out the winner.
You have now arrived at Stadium in Gale.
Boys and girls, ladies and gents, welcome to another episode of Stadium Miguel. It's your favorite Uncle Silk.
It's Dan.
And Delatory.
Same corner, same time, man. Not as high spirits as last week, but nonetheless, man, through all kinds of weather, we back kicking it, man. How y'all boys feeling?
I'm feeling good. Last time you guys talked to me, I was in Hawaii. I've come back a little bit more tan, but what a place. If you get the chance, go check it out. But it's good to be back in Tampa, good to be back in Florida. Was enjoying a nice game. My flight had just landed, game had just kicked off, and unfortunately we saw what happened, but it's good to be back in the Sunshine State. Nick, buddy, how was Gainesville? Silk, you were there too. But,
Bro, I told my fiance Dan was going to Hawaii and it was his 50th state, and she said, "What two does he have left?" And I went, "Excuse me? What? Puerto Rico and
Is she a teacher?
been there too.
she is not teaching our children.
No.
Kids will not be homeschooled.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a different weekend. Good vibes in the stadium. Not Utah, not the same as the opener. But it was another good crowd, and just not the outcome, man.
It felt like, just before we get into all the breakdowns, so I get into town and I wasn't there like 30 minutes and the bottom drops out of the sky. I hit Nick up. I was trying to link. Like Nick was like, I'm not leaving the house, bro. Not until
Sounds like
until it's time to kick off. Now, it was ugly, man. Just an ugly day. But
we had like biblical rain all week.
Yeah, it was wild, man. It felt like Dan Mullen's first Kentucky game. Like,
Oh yeah.
it was a crowd, but it wasn't a crowded tailgate because of the rain. You know,
Right.
like the rain ran people away, so it was a late go at it with the tailgate. The stadium filled in. Everybody was kind of, I don't know. It didn't feel in the same as Utah, I don't think, but the crowd was there.
But it was also like a choppy game. It was like there was no pace to it. It was like injury, commercial break, timeout, commercial break, review, It was just like there was no flow to the game. I think that kind of took the fans out of it as well. Like, it got loud. Just a weird game, no flow. So it was just a weird Saturday night. Other than that, not much to report, Dan. It certainly wasn't Hawaii.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the game. Let's shout out Alan Horn first, so we can get into it without forgetting him. And we do have a new sponsor for the show today, which I'm excited to share with you a little bit later today. But as always, the title sponsor for Stadium in Gale is Alan Horn Insurance. Alan is a State Farm agent in Jasper, Georgia. So if you need auto, home, life, business insurance, RV insurance, boat insurance, whatever it may be in Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, or Alabama, give him a call at 706-692-2888 or Alan Horn. That's ALANHORNE insurance.com. Again, in Florida, Georgia, Alabama, or Tennessee, 706-692-2888. All right, guys, let's get into the game a little bit. Silk, you said the tailgating scene just wasn't as vibrant and popping as you
I didn't know
anticipated.
it was. I thought I didn't know what the weather was like, but it got pretty ugly. Still got to get around a little bit. Saw Dave, Gator Dave, and those guys. Pulled up on the Gator Collective's tailgate, which is right by Gator Walk. It was still a good vibe. It just wasn't as full, because of the rain. The weather kind of damped a few things, but I had a good time, man. Outside of the L, Gainesville was Gainesville. Good vibes. Went over to Social. Went by Relish. I couldn't do my old Relish, so I got a veggie burger at Relish. Still fix I got my fix. Why you looking like that, Nick? Don't look like that, bro. You're muted.
Getting black bean burger at Relish. Disgusting.
I like black beans.
Yeah. Black bean burger, not too bad. It's better than a veggie burger, in my opinion.
No, it was a veggie burger.
Guess what's in the forecast for Saturday at 82%? This upcoming Saturday.
Sadness at Relish. That's what's in the forecast. My goodness.
Yeah.
Sadness.
About to be sadness in the in Ben Hill Griffin Stadium too. Looks like rain again on Saturday.
Bro, it's rained, I think, every day for six weeks. It just it's like SpongeBob here. I live in a pineapple under the sea.
Bikini Bottom, man.
Bikini Bottom.
Is your lawn looking lush?
It's out of control. I can't cut it enough. I'm gonna give up soon.
All right, boys. Let's talk about the game. Gators do lose to the number 20 at the time ranked Kentucky Wildcats, second year in a row. First time they've lost 2 games in a row, to the Wildcats since 1976 and 1977, years before anybody on this podcast was born. Kentucky and Florida. Florida was up 16-13 at halftime. At one point, they were up 16-7. I believe 16-7 or 16-9. Ultimately, giveaways, a lack of consistency, really kind of a lack of a true offensive game plan and identity. We saw the defense played well. I want to talk a little bit about them after we get through the offensive struggles. But I think even before we get into the game, very strange game overall. I thought, Nick, you mentioned the pace of the game. I thought that the penalties were called very oddly. Seemed like a very poorly refereed game. And I'm not just saying that on behalf of the Gators. I'm just saying that on behalf of the entire game. There was a lot of missed holds. There's a lot of question marks on what roughing the passer is or is not, what targeting is or is not. But certainly a very strangely called game from a refereeing perspective. You guys have any thoughts on that?
I like to do the refs last. I'm gonna be self-accountable first before I blame the refs. But yeah, it was a strangely called game. I just thought I didn't get it. We talked a lot all off season about the ratio of run to pass, and I thought it would be closer to 50-50 than more of 60-40. 60-40 is just hard to do in today's football. With the way football is played, man, you got to pitch the ball around a little bit. But for him to come back and drop back and throw the ball 34 times was just mind-boggling to me. It wasn't the offense that I expected to see. I thought we was going to lay on people and run down people's throat. I just think the analytics, man, and the nerd part of football is affecting the play calling, in my opinion. I don't know if it's how true it is, but it seems to be true. If the numbers is not there, he's checking out and throwing the ball, and there's some opportunities when he's throwing the ball. So I'm not mad at those calls, but I think at some point you got to look at your quarterback. He's having an inaccurate night. Let's lean on the strength of our team instead of going by the numbers and what's supposed to happen when we see these looks. So I just didn't like that, man. It didn't feel like there was any chemistry to the play calling. No, it's no touch to it, man. It was just like a set game plan. They was gonna go by what the defense give them and go with it, but I just didn't feel it, man. We should have been running the ball. The average per rush is something like 7 yards or something crazy. ETN looked great. That's another thing. I think ETN needs to touch the ball more. Him and 2, just better than 5, man. And it's nothing personal. It's just what it is. You can see a different type of spark when those guys got the ball. But we should be leaning on the run. And I don't know by design. There's some smoke out there about maybe Anthony Richardson being hurt, and them not running him as much. I'm not sure how true that is, but we're gonna have to run the ball. We're not gonna run him steady and often. Then I don't know how successful we're gonna be this season because everything's predicated off the run game and largely him running the ball as well. In my mind,
yeah. And like Billy said it, he's like, we have to let Anthony be Anthony. He said this, I think, in like SC Media days, like, and that is running. I think after talking to some people, I think Anthony got in his own head. He's not hurt. He's fine. I think he got a little spooked because he kind of got rolled up on his very first pass. but that wasn't like a lingering thing with his ankle or his foot. I think he just got in his own head and all off season. Like I said, like, hey, if Anthony gets hurt, like this team is totally different. And he knows that. I think the entire team knows that. So he's trying not to get hurt. I think he sees this passing quarterback, Will Levis, come in, and he got into his mind, like, I'm going to show – there were 15 NFL teams at that game. I think he got into his mind and was like, I'm going to show these scouts that are here that I can be him. I can be the other guy. I don't have to run. I don't have to rely on my legs, that I can outpass Will Levis. And I think he got into his own head, forcing the issue and checking out, like you said, Silk, and throwing more. And it's just like, hey, man, they don't want you to be that. They want you to be Anthony Richardson. There's a difference. You don't have to be – you're not Peyton Manning. You're not Tom Brady. You're a special talent. You've got stuff that other people just physically can't do, physically don't have. And I think he just got away from what makes him special and tried to force the issue passing the ball. And like
some of those, he just got to make those. Some of them throws is just wide open people. He just got to make. That's
the stuff though that we saw. And I talked about in the spring and talked about in the fall. He doesn't have a changeup yet. Everything's hard. When he misses high. Also, I don't like the pick six was. They keep doing it. They keep motioning like Xander's out wide or, Naquan out wide. And like, bro, you're just playing 10 on 11 now. Like, why are you trying to throw a hitch to your running back to the far side of the field? Like, what is that? If you're going to do that, throw it to someone else. Don't throw it to the running back.
Those plays don't seem to be working right now. Even when they send it, they throw it out to Xavier Henderson on the bubble screen. That we're not blocking great on it. The person that's like Xavier Henderson, I don't think
this east to west passing game. It's just like
I don't like it.
You don't. If you're gonna do it, throw it to Ricky. That's the guy that's gonna make people miss. Like you're throwing it to Shorter, you're throwing it to Hendo. Like these guys aren't breaking tackles. They're not making people miss. They're not shaking anyone. Yeah, I thought it was a pretty uninspiring called game.
For sure.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of question marks both on the plays that were called and both the plays that were run. I think that you saw Anthony Richardson make a couple of odd handoffs when he could have otherwise kept the ball. I think you saw that on a Naquan Wright carry that he got tackled behind the line of scrimmage. There's a lot of the RPO stuff that just didn't seem to work. And Nick, I think you hit the nail on the head with Anthony probably getting in his own head. Maybe it was the scouts, maybe it was the game, maybe it was the enthusiasm and excitement that everybody was, and I'm not saying that he got too big for his britches, but maybe there was just the excitement and energy of the past week. Sometimes you try to overcorrect and you really try to probably maybe even exceed or try to make it to that next level when you really didn't need to. Florida didn't need Anthony Richardson to be perfect. They didn't really need him to be as good as he was even against Utah. They just needed him to be consistent and not turn the ball over and make a couple of plays. But Silk, you mentioned it, just looking back at the stats from the game, Montreal Johnson running 8.86 yards per carry against Kentucky. Trevor Etienne, 5.11 yards on 9 carries, including a touchdown. Naquan Wright just not there. I think I had higher expectations for Naquan Wright this year. First game this season averages 3.9 yards on 10 carries. Second game this season averages 3 yards on 8 attempts. But Anthony Richardson, I don't know, maybe got in his head. I don't know what it was, but certainly the 2 interceptions. One was a little bit more understanding than the other one, but that pick 6 was a pretty horrific mistake. And I know that he's in just his 3rd game as a starter. And you can't expect the world. And I think that I was a little less bullish on him than maybe some of the media were before the season started to say, hey, there was a lot of mistakes made last year. I still think that there's a lot of area of opportunity. But, for Florida to win and for Florida to get those 8 or 9 wins this season, they're just going to have to avoid, turnovers and mistake football. And, unfortunately, a bit them this time.
Yeah, and then there's going to be a steady question of do we need an OC unless this offense is humming and it's going beautifully, we're going to keep questioning, or the fans are going to keep questioning whether or not we need an OC. So it's something to keep monitoring. Defensive side of the ball, man, you cannot be mad at what Patrick Tony's putting on the field. I think the linebackers got barbecued in a lot of situations. But overall, they gave up some real estate. When they got to the red zone, they buckled down and did what they had to do, just like versus Hawaii, man. I said in the offseason, I was Utah. I'm sorry, using Hawaii.
I was in Hawaii, yeah,
for sure. I said in the offseason, that's all I was mostly excited about. Seeing Patrick Toney's defense. I think he's a young, smart, bright mind in the defensive room. And when he upgraded talent at linebacker and safety, it's going to get even better. But scheme-wise, game plan-wise, I thought Patrick Toney had a great game plan, and the defense did enough to win the ball game. It's a team sport, but when you give up 2 turnovers and just giving away 14 points like that, it's hard to win in the SEC, man.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, I don't know how long we're gonna have Patrick Toney in Gainesville, but he's cooking. Like, he's gonna be a head coach sooner rather than later. Yeah, I mean, Utah gave, and Florida did a better job against the run, but Utah gave the blueprint. Florida's linebackers, and it wasn't just Brant Keithy. Like, Florida's linebackers are not good in coverage, and we've seen that for 4 and 5 years with Ventrell and Amari. I don't think Ventrell is going to be able to play this week, so you're going to get a lot more Scooby and you're going to get a lot more Shamar, and maybe those guys. I mean, they're young; they might take some lumps because they're green, but maybe they'll cover better. We'll see. You're going to get some more playing time for those two.
Yeah, and I think beyond even just the big names, Jervon Dexter had an interception in the game. Justice Boone was everywhere. Brenton Cox had a lot of great plays in that game as well. Caused I don't know if it was a sack or what it was, but it was definitely pushed. I think it was the right guard into the running back for a loss. Brenton Cox played really well. The defense as a whole was great. Nick, you mentioned it. Linebackers cannot cover. I think it was late in the first half, or maybe it was early in the second half. But they were just driving down the field, doing the same play, just that dump off to the tight end 8-10 yards out, and they're just going and getting bulk pickup in yards. And whether they're scoring or not, every drive they're still going to get those bulk yards, and they're still going to stay on the field. And unfortunately for Florida, it was just not enough. Want to just go back to offense real quick. Any highlights? Oh, go ahead.
No, sorry if I moved from offense too fast. My bad.
No, you're good. I thought the offensive line wasn't as strong as I anticipated them to be. Maybe against Utah, maybe it was a little bit more of the physicality. Maybe it was just the game overall. When you aren't able to get the ball off and you're not making plays, and you're consistently doing it over and over and over and over again, you might just wear out a little bit. But I was expecting maybe a little bit more out of the offensive line. I thought Osiris Torrance played really well. But one thing that I'm still noticing is just the absolute lack of really any presence by the tight end, both in blocking and in receiving. There's definitely nothing there as a receiving threat, but overall, just that tight end room is just not great right now, to be respectful.
No doubt. I think blocking from tight ends and wide receivers have to get better with a lot of the plays and the offense they're running. I wasn't impressed by the blocking on the outside. I think the offensive line blocking would have been better if we had a mentality of that game of just laying on these people. Mm-hmm. It just didn't feel like we had the mentality. Pass protecting and run blocking is just two totally different things. When we ran the ball, I thought the run game looked fine. The guys got to the second level, got some hats on things. And also we kept them. They was off balance when we ran the ball. I didn't get it, man. We'll have big runs, get on that other side of the field, and then go throw 3 straight. It just didn't make sense to me, the play calling, man. But I thought the offensive line is just a rhythm thing. Offensive line, just like running backs, it's just a rhythm thing, and we just never got in rhythm. If we'd have ran the ball more, I think we'd have put that game away. The 2 turnovers were what? Passes. Yep. We just got to take care of the ball better and put our team in position. And Billy's going to take his lumps, man. Even some of the calls he made. We could talk about the play calling and going for it on 4th a little later, but Billy's going to take his lumps early. He's still coming from Louisiana. He's still a young head football coach. There's a lot to learn. So we're gonna take some lumps here. We got a young quarterback and a young QB and a young head coach.
Well, and you have a team that's full of deficits, right? I mean, Florida went 6-7 last year. Didn't recruit very well. Those are the guys that are playing now. Florida was definitely helped by, Kyle Trask over the last few years and Kyle Pitts and a couple Kadarius Toney, a couple of the big names, big playmakers. And while Florida has some talent, they don't have those game changers, right? Anthony Richardson could be one day, and maybe this was just a fluke and he gets back into it. Everybody's
don't see it. Maybe in another game, Dan, but this Kentucky game, we should have won this game.
Oh no, absolutely. No, I'm just saying overall, Florida is still a rebuild team. I mean, right. Even though Kentucky's not that good, they are ranked number 9 in the country right now. I don't think that they're going to be, world beaters. I don't think that they're going to make the playoff or anything, but they were picked second in the SEC for a reason. They're a decent team. They have a pretty good quarterback, and Florida's in a rebuild. And if you were to tell any Florida fan, 2 months ago that they'd be 1-1 right now, they'd probably be like, yeah, that's pretty expectant. It's probably the reverse of what they thought would happen in the win-loss. But, there's a lot of people that thought Florida might be 1-3 in the first 4 games. And I don't think that that's possible, anymore. But, Florida's still a work in progress. I don't know if this is a statement game for anybody, and I don't want to read too much into it. And, the message boards have already fired, Billy Napier. They've sat Anthony Richardson. They're starting Jalen Kitna. They're starting a walk-on. I mean, the entire thing is just throw it out and start over again.
Yeah, I think kind of going to what Silk said, like, I said all offseason, like, I thought the play call would be like 60-40 run to pass. I think it needs to be. Like, you have a line that can lean on people. You've got 2 really good running backs, 3 potentially really good running backs, and Anthony Richardson can be special with his legs. Like, you just need to, not to make yourself one-dimensional, but you need to impose your will, because Florida should be able to run the ball on probably every team, maybe outside of Georgia, on their schedule. And I think you just need to start imposing your will on teams. And they did not against Kentucky. They tried to throw the ball too much. I don't know if that was Napier calling it or if Anthony's checking out of plays because he sees a certain look. But listen, just run the ball until they stop you.
Right. Also, like, just watching the game, I was at the game, so it's different watching it on TV. A lot of the vibes, you just catch different vibes. There's certain vibes you can catch on TV, certain you can catch at games. I was watching the sidelines. It seemed like a whole lot of fire. I didn't see urgency. We were flat. I was looking for some leadership on the sidelines, and I'm from afar now, so I don't hear what's being said, but I'm from afar. I didn't see anybody rallying the guys and any leadership. So it's still a team also looking for vocal leadership and also physical leadership on the field. I'm seeing a little bit on the defensive side of the field, and that comes with success. But on the offensive side of the ball, I'm still trying to find some leadership. And I don't know, like, it's game 2, so you got to give these young boys room to grow.
Right.
As a quarterback, who AR is, who he, his brand or everything, his leadership. He exudes leadership into that game in Kentucky. So I think as a leader, he got to lead a little better. Even if you're down, even if you're winning, even if you're having a bad day, you still got to lead.
Yeah. So why don't you do a quick Gramco ad read, and then I want to talk a little bit more about that.
One time for the great folks at Gramco, be sure to use gramco.com for all your THC Delta 8 products. Use coupon code SG25 at checkout for 25% off of gummies, wake and bake, coffee, pre-rolls, and also soluble powder. Again, the coupon code is SG25 at checkout for 25% off.
Yeah, Nick, I know that you've probably dissected the game a little bit more from that perspective. Definitely notice Anthony Richardson probably not being as vocal. Definitely a guy that's standing by himself, kind of looked, I don't want to say disinterested or not engaged, but definitely looked to be, probably mentally hard on himself. Is that something you noticed as well?
He was definitely when he came into his press conference, like he looked like he'd been crying, like his eyes were red. He had some personal stuff go on with losing a friend earlier this year. I don't know if that was weighing on him. He's definitely hard on himself, I really think I think, and maybe not totally now, but I think last week he let the totality of everything. Like, he's in a position to make money that will set his grandchildren up, and that's you can't think about that, but I think he's been thinking about that. Like, if I get hurt, that's gone. If I throw an interception, that's gone. And then he throws one, or he throws a ball high and it's incomplete. And I think he just let things snowball on him. And he's not young, like he's 21. That's still, I guess, young, but he's just maybe mentally not mature enough to be like, okay, that pass is gone. Forget about it. Move on to the next play. I think he just kind of let things snowball. And that's what I think, because people are like, oh, he has bad body language on the sideline. And I think he was just thinking too much.
Yeah, I think part of it is this is nothing as Anthony Richardson as a competitor. I've met him, a great guy. Don't know his internal competitive, vibe and spirit. I think some of that just goes to the fact that, Gainesville High School, I think one year they did okay, but didn't play a ton of meaningful games.
East Side
High School in Gainesville, East Side High School didn't, I think they had one pretty decent season. Other than that, a lot of, losses there. Comes to Florida, has some good games against USF, goes in, plays against Georgia, throws, 3 interceptions there, comes in, sparingly to play a couple of times, after that. But, for the most part, I don't think he's really put himself in a lot of position to have a lot of adversity, or to have to overcome that adversity and have that short memory. And I think that you're seeing that. And I think that's just going to come with, game reps and time, right? He's a redshirt sophomore, right? So he's 21 years old. Everybody's been hearing about him, since he came onto campus. And, with Dan Mullen recruiting him, obviously people compared him to Dak and Cam and Tim Tebow and everything else. But, he still doesn't have a ton of meaningful snaps under his belt. He has about 100 total at UF. So he's got to have he's got to learn that. It's just going to come with time.
And all 3 of his starts, he's only had 3 starts. All 3 of his starts have been against top 20 teams.
Right.
So.
Yeah, Mark Stoops had a great game plan as well, but I want to talk more to like just this game, man. He got an early lesson, like SEC Network comes into town, Tebow comes into town. Everybody's feeling him. He has a big win week 1. Everybody, the Heisman campaign start. I'm hyping him up. Everybody's hyping him, and then he come back this week, and I'm pretty sure he felt the disappointment as he's sitting on the sidelines. He knows. What's been said and the consequences of that energy. But it's a good lesson for him, man. And I don't think this season's over for him. I still think he's gonna have a big season. I think he learned a lot. I think Billy learned a lot from this game. And I don't expect him to just to snowball into a season thing. I still think he's gonna have a very good season. It was just a lesson learned from a lot of fronts, man. And we'll see if he's the dog that we think he is, man, because he just need an opportunity to bounce back. And I know he's itching for that with South Florida, opportunity to get some work in. But I'm gonna be honest about what I saw, and I think he needs to improve on. But everything else, man, outside of like not using his strongest attributes and them like using our best weapon and the best capabilities is what cost us that game. Most importantly, and they got to figure out the offense. It's just like the identity. What is this Florida team gonna be? Because we was on that 60-40 train, Nick, and I don't know if they totally on that, man. The nerves is taking over with a lot of analytic ball, in my opinion.
All right, bro. Well, get on. They need to get on the train. Buy your ticket. Buy your ticket. The train needs
to the 50-50. I think we could go like whatever, but you just can't be. He can't drop back 34 times and throw this
35-6. That's not Anthony Richardson. You're not letting him.
Nobody asked Cam to do that. Nobody asked Tebow to do that. You got to ask this guy. Like these guys at this part in their maturation weren't asked to drop back 34 times and throw and pit. And take apart of Mark Stoops' defense is ranked 20th. It's not his strong suit.
And so I don't know too. So like I can tell when it plays an RPO because you can tell what the receiver's doing. But then people are like, "Oh, Ant was hurt. He's not handing the ball off on this read option." And I'm like, "Well, I don't know if it's a read option. That could just be a regular handoff. And unless you know." But everyone's saying like, "Oh, well, he wasn't taking it because he was hurt and he didn't want to run." I'm like, you don't know that's it could look like a read option, but it might be designed to look like a read option and it's
basic dive.
Yeah. So I don't know, but like to your point, I mean, there's just you can't say any plainer. 35-6 is not the run pass ratio that Anthony Richardson needs to have.
Yeah, I'm with you. Defensive wise, what do you thought about the secondary? Are we done with offense? Are we done?
Yeah.
One other thing, Michael Tarquin goes down. I thought Austin Barber played all right. He had a really nice pull on ETN's touchdown run. Young player, and we'll see how long Tarquin's out. We'll find out Wednesday, I think. But I don't really feel like there's a big drop off with Austin Barber, even though he's young and really good. Just getting his first reps right now.
That's the only fire I seen was when Tarkin got hurt. He showed a little fire leaving the field, but outside of that, it was missing a little fire from the offense and energy, man.
Bro, him and Ethan White look like they could be in like an 80s rock band with that.
I thought Ethan that got injured. Shout out to Ryan Bush, man. We was sitting in the seats and we was having a debate back and forth if it was Tarquin or Ethan White, and I was like, I don't think Tarquin got a head of hair like that, bro.
They have big numbers on their jerseys, right?
Yeah, 70 and 77, but we're still arguing about it just because of the hair. We didn't know Tarquin had like long hair, so we're like, nah, we seen long hair go to the tent. Whatever.
Nick has the entire player guide in front of him, and it's
and
you don't know the difference between 70 and 77 on game 2, so shame on you, buddy.
Right.
Quick, we'll get on to defense before we do that. Homefieldapparel.com saw a number of people on TV wearing the Home Field Apparel shirts that they got. Hopefully they use promo code Stadium and Gale and got 15% off of their order. Go visit them. 17 different items for UF and a bunch of different schools. And some NFL teams. Go visit them. Homefieldapparel.com. Promo code Stadium and Gale for 15% off. Hugh comes in. How about that defense? Except for 0. Shout out to him for the super chat donation. Appreciate you, Hugh. Defense, I thought played really well. We touched a little bit about it. Linebacker definitely struggled in pass coverage. Pardon me. But defensive line. Let's start there. How do you guys think the defensive line did?
Bro, that on the interception, like, what are you doing? You literally let Brenton Cox come off untouched. And said and told your running back, like, hey, can you protect the quarterback? No, you can't. Dan mentioned earlier, Brenton Cox literally sacked Will Levis by throwing an offensive lineman into him. I thought Jervon played well. Justice Boone's gonna be a dude like that. That sack was nasty.
Yeah.
Can we talk a little bit about that? That was the most textbook tackle that I think that you can have in that situation. I was gonna lose my mind if they call that targeting. Like, at some, like, if that's targeting, then just put flags on quarterbacks and just have them pull flags and say you can't touch them. Who was tagged with the 15-yarder for tackling him as he was throwing the ball on his leg when he's throwing the ball into the end zone? It was not caught, but then there was a roughing the passer penalty.
That's a wild call.
That was not. And I think after that happened, I think the Florida's defensive line, I thought that the defense played well all game, but you could see after that they were Trey Dean. Thank you, everybody in the chat. Trey Dean rushes the passer. Will Levis throws an incomplete pass, but as he's throwing the ball, he gets tackled by the leg. Roughing the passer, don't understand that, but after that, you could definitely see the defense playing a little bit more timid, especially when it came to getting after Will Levis and maybe even causing a turnover. But definitely just some odd calls there. And I'm not one to blame the refs because I thought they missed some calls on the Gators too. But
a lot of holding, man. Like, I could see it from a bird's eye view what I was at, but we was getting held like crazy. As good as the defensive line did do, they were still getting held like crazy, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so defensive line, Desmond Watson plays a lot of snaps. Jervon Dexter has the interception, plays well. Any other thoughts on the defensive line, Nick or Soak, and then we'll move into secondary play.
I think the line did well. They did better. I've been hard on them in terms of run blocking, and runs stopping the run because they just don't have depth there. Excuse me. But I thought they did better. And then obviously, what did they have? 3 sacks?
Let me just double check. I just closed out.
They had 3 sacks. Bernie had 1, Boone had 1, and Dexter and Dean combined for 1. Dexter and Dean get credit for that, but that was the one that Brenton Cox, threw a grown man into the quarterback.
Shout out to Desmond Watson. He's noticeably bigger than everybody, even from the nosebleeds.
Yeah, he weighs. He's a biscuit away from 460. What do you mean? Yeah, he is bigger than everyone.
Yeah, he's
so noticeable.
Substantially bigger. Yeah,
it's crazy.
He walks around like I don't know if you guys remember. I guess there's that Kanye West video of him wearing those like oversized boxy clothes. But Doug Funny did the same thing.
That's disrespectful, Daniel.
No, I'm not saying that. I mean, he just
disrespectful.
That's just. So I don't think he listens to the show, but I'm just telling you that's just kind of how he looks out there. He just kind of stands out. No offense to the kid, I think he's playing well. Interceptions, Gators get one with Jervon Dexter 2 games into the season. You have Amari Burney interception to end the game against Utah, and then you have Jervon Dexter catch an air ball. Still without any turnovers from your secondary. You guys concerned at all? Will Levis and Cam Rising both threw the ball pretty often. Are you surprised at all that you haven't seen any turnovers by this secondary?
No, I'm not surprised. Trading starts. Rashard Torrance is back there. I'm not mad. I'm not surprised there's no turnovers, man. We don't have ball hawks back there. The corner position, I just want to see more Devin Moore and more Jason Marshall. No slight to the other guys. They just play. Those guys make plays. We gave up a couple big throws. One was a touchdown. But outside of that, I'm not mad at the corners. I think we get some better corner play with the younger boys. But the safety position is a lot to be desired as far as playmaking, ball hawking, that type of stuff. There's no presence, not enough presence from the safety room in my opinion.
I mean, the coverage wasn't even that bad on the touchdown.
Touchdown.
That was just a hell of a play, dude. He just kind of I forget. It was Kimber. He kind of just like boxed Kimber out. They both went up for it. He high pointed the ball
right.
That was the one where the ball hit the ground. Yeah, remember that one.
The ball hit the ground.
Yeah, it did on TV. I didn't think that they were going to overturn. The ball definitely hit the ground on TV though.
Yeah, we got a nice boo in the stadium. I couldn't tell. Be honest.
Yeah, and I don't think it was enough to overturn it, but you could definitely see the ball move a little bit, and maybe that it can move slightly. But the way that he caught it, there was no way that you were going to stop that. Make a full complete catch because there was no support underneath the ball until it would bounce off the ground, and then you could tag it in. But no, I mean that was just you're gonna get passes caught against you, right? Best cornerbacks in the NFL have gotten passes caught against them. Sometimes it just happens.
They played Dean down in the box a lot. They went like single high safety a bunch with Torrance up top, which probably played into Dean leading the team in tackles for the second straight week. But I think I think they're both. I don't know that you have a free safety. I think they're both strong safeties. Like they're both like walk down, play in the box, and like you said. So to your point, though, is you just don't have ball hawks back there. You don't have guys that are getting their hands on the ball.
Yeah, no, I guess, part of it is probably the fact that so many passes have been completions to tight ends, right? In that open area.
And also Kentucky, if you're not covering the tight ends and Florida has a good pass rush, okay, well, let's negate the pass rush and just get the ball out quick. And I think teams will do that because Brenton Cox is playing his ass off. And I think Florida's got a bunch of guys that can get after the pass or get after the quarterback. So you're going to see teams just use that quick passing game because Florida's linebackers haven't shown that they can cover it. So those are adjustments.
Yeah, our safeties are getting put on these tight ends in some of these positions as well, getting cooked.
I ain't gonna lie, I'm getting cooked.
Yeah, no, I thought, another week, you don't hear much about Jason Marshall. That's pretty good. I thought, Jalen Kimber's played pretty well. I think Devin Moore is definitely the next guy, that's going to be a potential All-American for the Gators. I think that he's playing well. I thought that Avery Helm had a decent game. I know that he got
he's having a decent season. He's not playing bad football.
Yeah, no, not at all. I know the internet was a little upset about him, but I think overall the cornerbacks are playing well. I just they're not getting a lot of plays yet, and that's the difference.
More Marshall, more Devin Moore is what the streets need.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind if they're getting subbed out here and there. Just where the snaps are at right now, I think the snaps need to be in favor of more Devin Moore and more Jason Marshall at corner.
Yeah, and I think they're getting there. I think part of that is just time in the system and just learning the pace of the game from a Devin Moore perspective. But every time he comes in, he definitely does well. He's made an impact, and the announcers during the game even mentioned that Devin Moore was having a big impact and definitely one of the bright spots for the future Florida Gators. But you have to be happy with the youngsters coming in, even some of the transfer guys that are coming in to make an impact pretty early. I did see that Ty Bowman was getting some playing time. How about that?
Right? Went back to offense.
Yeah, he's back on offense. Yeah, he's gone from offense to defense, back to offense. Who knows? Maybe a two-way player. Maybe the next Deion Sanders. Who knows? Ty Bowman, next Deion Sanders. Write it down, Nick. Put it on a shirt. Let's see.
Okay.
We're having people come into the chat and mention. Let's see. Any word on Rashard Torrance? He went down. I know that on his health, or Ventrell Miller, who left during the second half. Nick, you said maybe an update on Wednesday.
Yeah, Torrance is fine. I don't know that Ventrell. I don't think Ventrell will play this week.
If it wasn't USF, would he play?
No. I don't know if he'll play in 2 weeks.
Do we know what the injury is? I missed it.
No.
It's a good week to miss. I'll tell you that, man. Let me see. Let my young boys, because we feel good about school. Amari's playing better. We gotta give him credit where credit is due. Amari is playing better. But yeah, let me see what Scoob and the young Shamar James could do a little bit versus a team like USF that shouldn't give us a whole lot of problems.
Yeah.
Scheme wise though, what do you guys thought about the scheme from Patrick Toney and his game plan?
Outside, I mean, the tight ends are obviously the biggest issue that we have, and I don't know if that's an issue.
I don't think that's scheme. I think that's personnel.
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, I think that scheme overall has been strong. Do you guys have any concerns there? I mean, I think the defensive line is doing great. I think that the safeties outside of our secondary outside of maybe causing some turnovers, they're playing well. I mean, Utah has a potential first-round quarterback. Kentucky has a potential first-round quarterback. Utah obviously has.
I say Rising. I don't know if Rising.
Utah obviously had a good returning quarterback as well that put up some big numbers last year. But I think that they've done well, and Florida should be 2-0 right now if you look at the way their defense have played.
Well said.
Nick, your thoughts?
I have no problem with his scheme. I thought the scheme on defense has been good. I've seen six DBs on the field, so I think he's trying to do stuff to combat that. I mean, at some point when Ventrell went down, you had Scooby, Shamar, and Bernie in for a lot of the second half, and I think Shamar and Scooby are both more athletic. I don't know that it showed in terms of stopping, the short passes or covering it, and that just might have to come with time with them. But I think Florida's going to be without Ventrell Miller, I think, for a couple weeks, and you're going to see, hey, are these guys better? Do you see an improved play? And listen, when Ventrell's healthy, he's going to play. Like, Ventrell's not getting Wally pipped. Like, he's not losing his starting job. But if these guys can't help you in that area, you're gonna have to start, messing with the rotation a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you just gotta hope. I'm liking what I've seen, like from just coming downhill with Scoob or in Shamar. I want to see, because we know Ventrell is a liability in pass coverage, so we gotta see. I want to see one of these young boys because they're gonna get USF. No matter how terrible they are, they're gonna do the same thing. Watch the same film. They're gonna come pick on the linebackers with tight ends as well. So it's going to be opportunity there. And I want to see how better they cover the tight end position, because everybody got that mapped out for us the rest of this year. And I don't think Ventrell's gonna get better at covering wide receiver. I think that's more of Amari Burney's strong suit. But Amari Burney's looking better. Gotta give credit what credit's due. He's looking a lot better than he did last year.
Bro, Ventrell Miller, if he was born in 1940, would be a Hall of Fame
in 93
NFL linebacker.
In like the 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, give him a neck roll or one of those.
Yes, sir.
Bro. I love
dress like Brian
Miller.
Cox.
I love Ventrell Miller. He's just not. It's just like he's just not good in coverage. But if he was playing back in like wing T days, my God, I'd be flying to the football.
Well, you gotta go way back to wing T though, Nick. You just go back to the 90s, man.
No.
Zach Thomas, those guys, bro.
No, yeah. I'm going back. I'm going back to he 1940 leather helmets. He would shove that leather helmet right in your chest.
He's probably been the only black guy there too.
Yo. No, I do want to ask. Somebody mentioned in the chat. Where's DeJuan Black? I just don't see it. But and I'm trying to find.
Not playing.
Yeah, he's just not.
He's playing some special teams.
Good for him. Somebody said Money Green said put Trey Dean in the box to cover the tight end. Not against the idea of trying to figure out some additional help back there. Florida needs somebody. I don't know if it's going to be Trey Dean. I don't know if he's physical enough for that, but.
Only thing I want Trey Dean to stop doing is bragging while we're losing.
It's a pretty good ask. Nick's
said
on
that.
mute.
You said that.
Ask, man.
You said that, and I instantly saw in my head 3 or 4 instances of like down, somebody else makes a tackle, and Trey Dean's just like flexing down the field, 10 yards in the backfield.
There was a ball that was thrown very far out of bounds, and he did the no-fly zone. Yeah. Very, very assured.
That's a DB thing. Like
he flexed when he was down 7. I almost like jumped over the Champions Club thing. I was like, man, I got to end it all, man. There's no way he just celebrated. We're down. Like, we're against the ropes here. He's celebrating.
It's nuts. Gentlemen, we have Will Turner from 247 Sports to come on to talk about the Florida USF game. Before we do that, let's give a shout out to our friends over at Alumni Hall. A number of you guys reached out saying that you were going to stop by. We greatly appreciate that. Alumni Hall on Archer Road. You can also visit them at alumnihall.com. Men's and women's Nike apparel and new kids accessories on there. Go check them out. A bunch of new stuff for tailgating as well, whether they're tents, tables, chairs, whatever you might need for Gator game day in the swamp this weekend. Go visit them, alumnihall.com, or visit them on Archer Road. Let them know Nick sent you from Stadium and Gale. Will Turner, man, it is a pleasure to have you on. We were clawing up all edges trying to find somebody that covered USF that could tell us a little bit about the team 20 minutes up the road from me. So Will, you coming on.
I will tell you this: there is a USF Twitter because I said 2 years. No, I said 2 years ago.
No baseball.
Yeah,
I said no. I pissed them off. I said 2 years ago that Florida losing to USF was a bad loss, and they came at my neck. They came after me.
And then they went to go win the regional too after that.
Yeah. Oh, I know. They let me know. They let me know.
Nick likes that energy, bro. He likes to like piss people off. That's his vibe. Negative Nick is what we call
it. Sure worked. He sure woke some folks up, man. But
yeah.
Will, are you familiar with Nick from his beef with the USF baseball Twitter world?
Very. I kept it quiet because I wasn't covering baseball, but I just kind of saw because I think you were with Rivals at the we'll so I was like, we'll let the Rivals guy make his bed here.
Yeah, they bro, and then
it's a nice little reckoning. I love it.
They win the regional and they go to Texas and they're beating Texas in the 8th inning. I'm like, no. I was like, no. This team can't go to Omaha. I was like, this team cannot go to Omaha. I need Texas. And luckily, Texas won. But my goodness.
He wasn't trying to, like, dog USF. He just trying to be negative to UF, and it backfired in another way. That's really what happened.
It's just what
I
does.
think that run caught a lot of folks at USF off guard. I mean, like that was just baseball's a weird sport, man. That's just the team getting hot at the right time.
They were a bad team, and then they got hot, and they won the tournament, and they just got hot at the right time. That's what
Nick's gonna piss off baseball Twitter again.
Yeah, hey, I'll see you guys next week. I'm out of here.
No, man. Well, Will, we appreciate you coming on the show to talk a little bit about the USF game. Been a tough couple of years probably covering the USF football program. Still trying to get it turned around under Jeff Scott, but tell us a little bit about the USF Bulls this year.
Yeah, so they brought in a healthy amount of transfers this offseason, completely rebuilt their defense. If you looked at their defensive numbers after they fired Glenn Spencer after the second to last game of the year. Completely rebuilt their defense with a whole bunch of Power 5 transfers. Brought in, guys from Clemson, North Carolina, a bunch of places around the country that are evading me right now. But they bring in these guys. They want to change the defense. They bring in Bob Shoop, who was a analyst at Miami at the time, but he's been very well traveled. Was at Penn State and Vanderbilt with James Franklin, was with Butch Jones at Tennessee, spent some time at Mississippi State. So, a guy that wanted to play an in-your-face style of defense. And to his credit, through the first 2 games, USF has had more tackles for loss and sacks than they had, in each of the past seasons under Glenn Spencer. So that was that's a bright spot. They're just not coming at the right time. A lot of those, they had 11 tackles for loss against Howard last week, and most of them came in the second half. So when the game was kind of put away. So, it's kind of weird. It's hard to vibe on what they really want to do. They're sending, 6-7 guys at a time that they're just getting the penetration up front with the front court to really be able to make a difference. And especially when you play a BYU team that, has one of the best offensive lines in the country with 2 guys that are probably going to be first-round picks. It's a tough task trying to get some guys in there that have very minimal snaps, because of those guys that they brought in on transfer, especially on the defensive line, played a whole lot of ball before that, maybe 50, 60 snaps. Clyde Pinder, who was a Florida prospect at one time that ended up going to North Carolina, the former 4-star from Armwood.
Oh, yeah.
He was supposed to be one of those transfers inside the D tackle room. He didn't see the field this year. He's I think he might be off the roster due to some academic issues. I'm not sure. That's what Jeff Scott said. So the room just keeps getting thinner. Secondary depth is getting thinner with some injuries. So Howard was a win. It wasn't a satisfying win for what they needed to do in that game, though.
Yeah, they beat Larry Scott, who was he was just the interim head coach there at USF, right?
He was the interim head coach at Miami. I don't think he was
the head coach
at
that's
USF.
Right. That's right. He just worked at the USF. That's right. So talk to us a little bit about offense. I know that they've got obviously it's tough to tell, not a great game against BYU and then playing Howard. But what kind of offense is Jeff Scott running this year as he tries to probably, in all intents and purposes, save his job for the year?
Yeah, I believe they want to run quick game or run a lot of slants, bubble screens, all that good stuff. Trying to get the balls in the hands of the playmakers, guys like Jimmy Horn, Brian Batty, Xavier Weaver, guys that can make guys miss and make plays. They've got a consensus All-American kick returner in Brian Batty. He had a really good game against Howard on the ground. But they also want to establish a run, just like, a lot of teams around the country want to do. They, with that coach speak. But we haven't really seen that a whole lot in the first 2 games. USF ran the ball just 11 times in the first half against Howard. They threw it, I think, 21 times. So they, want the passing game to work. Looks like Gary Bohannon, who's the transfer in from Baylor, just wants to, kind of get that timing right with some of the receivers. Seems like they're just off. Couple passes over the head, couple drops here and there. So just not clicking there yet through the passing game. But last week against Howard, the one bright spot was definitely the rushing game. They up in the second half, ran for 205 yards on just 27 carries. So I think averaged maybe 6-7 yards carry last week. And Baxter rips one off for 60. Mikey Duke, the Clemson transfer, rips one off for 28-yard touchdown. Jaron Mangum gets two touchdowns. So, a lot of bright spots there in the rushing game. They had 6 total touchdowns against Howard. So, still trying to find the identity of the offense. In all honesty, if you ask Jeff Scott, I think it's going to come in the rushing game. In all honesty, just with kind of what I've seen over the first game and a half, because the passing game just isn't there yet with Gary and some of his receivers.
What about the tight end? You guys have a good tight end that
it doesn't matter.
I got a shot. Y'all got a tight end, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. I might got a shot.
Yeah. When you talk to Jeff, let him know.
2 hands and 2 feet.
Gunnar Greenwald's been pretty good that spot, man.
So that's a guy whose name we got to know for Saturday. Is Gunnar Greenwald. No matter how good or not good he is, he's going to go ham. He's going to probably have a career day.
Yeah, right. This is going to get him on the scouts board right here.
Hey, the question is if they're going to throw the football to him, because he's only had 2 touches.
Career high coming this week.
They may not have planned for it, but career high numbers coming his way.
He's the good one. He's a Space Coast kid. Had like NC State. I think Miami was on him. A couple other big schools were on him, and chose USF pretty early in that 2021 class. So he's a good one. He's another one that just isn't starting for whatever reason currently, when I think he should be the guy currently.
Do you think how do you guys not let the game? You guys are letting the game get away from you in the first half so far this year. How do you not let them? The spread's 24 points. So what can USF do possibly besides feed the ball to the tight end all game to keep it a game?
So in all honesty, right, like I think it's gotta be something with the script. Because if you look at how USF has played in their first 15, 16 plays, the script just seems to be a little bit off. Early on, they want to go to the plays that they want to hit. Gary Bohannon threw an interception on the first play of the game against Howard. Had everybody like in the stadium on pins and needles. So that was fun. You take a look at USF's first 15 yards per play against Howard. No points, but 5.9 yards of play. The 42 yards per. Same BYU, a little bit less for USF scoring any points on the first 15 plays. They averaged 3.7 yards per play. And then the rest of the game, they 1.4 yards per, a little bit better. So I think you change your play calling in the first quarter. I think you change your script up quite a bit and maybe go towards maybe you try to actually establish the run and you go with some of those guys that had a big game. I think the other thing too is if a guy's hot, if a guy just ripped off a 12-yard run, go right back to him, hand the ball right back to him, or throw the ball back to him. Seems like USF has just kind of gone away from some of the guys that had been really hot, like Brian Batty. I keep saying his name, but he's been, one of USF's most explosive backs, and he's only getting 3-5-7 yards or 3-5-7 carries a game. So I think if you get the hands in the ball or get the ball in the hands of the playmakers, rather, maybe they start faster. I mean, obviously it's a night game at the Swamp. It's a tough environment for anybody to play in. But yeah, starting fast is a huge thing for USF right now that they just haven't been able to do.
Okay, if I got some other questions outside of football, but what do you think about Florida's roster and the matchup wise? When you look at us on paper, I know we just took a loss to Kentucky, and Anthony Richardson didn't run wild this week, and I think that's one of the keys to our offense. But what do you think about the offense or the lack thereof versus Kentucky?
So I didn't get a chance to watch that game a ton just because it was on at the same time that USF played. But, obviously we got to see Florida last year at Raymond James. I like AR-15 a lot. I think
he went crazy on y'all last year.
He did. The one play that went for 80 yards that he pulled his hamstring on, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Correct.
I love AR-15, man. I think he's gonna be
out
really.
now. He's moved away from his branding.
Yeah, we
there.
just call him.
Oh, has he?
Yeah, he's got a whole new branding now.
Okay.
But his stat line was ridiculous. It was like 3 of 3, 2 touchdowns, 115 yards, something like that, and
really good.
And then like 4 rushes for like 100 and something.
Yeah. So I love Anthony Richardson. I think he's going to be a dynamic playmaker for as long as he's at the University of Florida and even beyond that. Obviously, UF recruits so much down in the Bay Area that Ventrell Miller is a guy that I've been watching for a long time when he was at Kathleen. I wish obviously they would kind of keep some of those guys on the roster. I thought DeMarcus Bowman was going to be a star. Obviously that situation, I don't know if it really ever got resolved or whatnot, but
he got to sit out this year with you guys, right?
With UCF.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Yep. He's down the road on I-4.
Yep. So he's with UCF. I'd like to see some of these guys stick. I'd like to see if UF can make a run at Keon Keeley out of Berkeley Prep. But no, they've come down to Florida. Jervon Dexter is another one that I loved. Coming out of high school as a basketball player over at Lake Wales, has done a really nice transition to that D tackle spot. And then Zach Carter was one of the first guys that I watched, first guys that I covered when I got into this whole thing about 6-7 years ago. And, he's played really well. So, to answer your question about Florida's roster, especially offensively, I think it's good. I think there's playmakers. I obviously it's game 2 of Billy Napier, game 3 going now. Billy Napier's, tenure at Florida. I'd like to see his offensive play calling kind of evolve. I know Florida fans kind of felt that way here and there just from what I was reading on some comment sections this morning. I'd like to see his play calling evolve. I think he was a pretty solid offensive coach wherever at all the stops that he's been at. So it'll be interesting to see how that roster evolves. But I think they've done a pretty nice job recruiting overall. Especially in this 23 class, I like a good amount of the pieces that they've got and just kind of how they've been able to, get this class where it needs to be from a expectation standpoint.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just going through the USF coaching roster right now. Some blasts from the past. You mentioned Bob Shoop, Travis Trickett's there. Let's see, who was I looking at? Daquan Bowers is there, former Clemson guy. A guy that everybody knows, and then a name that I had no idea was on the staff, and that's Ernie Sims, linebackers coach over there.
He's had interesting trajectory since he left the league. He was at Florida Atlantic for a few years. I think he was on Lane Kiffin's staff, and then when USF pretty much poached FAU's coaching staff when Lane left. Ernie came over and was a support staff member, and then they had some shuffling after Wes Neighbors went to Louisiana Lafayette with Billy for a year. They pushed Glenn Spencer back to the safeties role, and they brought Ernie up to go be the position coach, and he's done a really nice job. I think he's got a bright future in college coaching for sure. I could absolutely see him being a defensive coordinator at some point. USF interviewed him for the job, or at least put in some, his name was in the waters of potentially getting that DC job after they fired Glenn Spencer. So bright-minded college coaching without a doubt, Ernie Sims.
So Nick, you guys have any final questions? I got one more to take us out.
Go ahead.
Have you guys talked to Jeff Scott today?
No, we get him Tuesday and Thursday, so we'll get him twice this week.
Billy spoke very highly of him. They obviously coached under Dabo at Clemson. I'm just wondering, obviously they're both offensive guys, but just wondering how much familiarity they have with each other from being on the same staff, and how that will play in this week. Just something probably only writers are thinking of, but something that I thought of today when Billy started talking about him.
Yeah, I listened to his comments for a few minutes and heard that Brad Scott was one of his mentors when Brad was at Clemson. And Billy was at Clemson as well. No, as far as I know, I'd have to go back and look, but Jeff has always had some good things to say about Billy. I remember, I don't think he addressed him last week in the post game presser, but I think he might have mentioned him in the preseason, and said and said something about it. I just can't remember off the top of my head, but he's I'd imagine tomorrow he's going to have some good things to say about Billy Napier. He did say that he expects those guys to be prepared and ready to go on Saturday night at the Swamp. So, I'm sure, they've got some good things to say. That whole Clemson vibe is, as all of us know, is very family oriented. There's not a whole lot of guys that leave that experience on a bad note or with bad blood with a lot of the guys in that organization.
Hey, Will, how do you guys get back on pace to make that I-4 rivalry, more of a rivalry with UCF? UCF seem to keep some sustainability as far as relevancy and, competing with the big boys. How do you guys get on that level, man? USF have had some runs, but it's been a struggle of late.
It's just overall consistency. It's just overall consistency in everything between, the administration, the facilities. USF is just now getting an indoor practice facility. That's the shovels went in the ground probably about a year ago this week, I think. Mm-hmm. And there's an on-campus stadium in talks for 2026, but USF has just been so behind on the facilities aspect.
Still ahead of Miami.
Well, Miami's at least got a roof over their building, no matter how long that field is.
Yeah, all 35 yards of it has a roof over it.
Right. At least it's something, and they could dodge raindrops. USF can't dodge raindrops. So
you go to the gym. Same thing.
I guess. I mean, we used to do that in high school track, man. I didn't do anything. Didn't do anything.
Florida used to practice not too long ago under the concourse at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium.
But, what can you get out of that, in all honesty? I mean, maybe you run some walkthroughs, I guess.
Yeah.
But, no, they've been so behind on the facilities aspect. Obviously, Willie Taggart, gave them some good success in 2016, 2015, 2017. He takes the Oregon job, and Charlie Strong takes over. I know Florida fans love Charlie Strong, but it's very, very different down I-75 when you look at USF's perspective of him. There's a lot of folks that think Charlie Strong set USF back at least 5 years in the recruiting aspect, especially.
Right. I've heard that.
There were a lot of guys when Jeff Scott came in that Jeff Scott had to just clean the roster. I mean, it was a huge. I mean, there's only from the 2017 roster, which is like your 5th year, 6th year guys with the COVID waiver, there's only 2 guys on the roster from that season. 18, similar story. There's only a handful of guys. 19, probably similar story. There's so many guys that you look at the recruiting classes that just aren't on this team anymore. So from an overall depth perspective, USF has struggled to have that quality depth. And it's hurt their play on the football field, and I think the recruiting has had a lot to do with that. It felt like a lot of Charlie Strong's tenure was him just trying to find his way back to a Power 5 job. Right. It never felt like he really wanted to, get the facilities right and do what they needed to do in the off-field aspect. Wasn't very, sociable with the fans outside of his few appearances that. He was contractually obliged to do. So, like I said, Florida fans, I know Florida fans love Charlie Strong, but, he really set USF back in a lot of ways. Jeff Scott's done a lot of good things to, get USF back on track in terms of the off-field stuff, the facilities. He's a great CEO. I think Billy Napier said that today too, and I wholeheartedly agree. He's a great CEO, head coach, great off the field leader, knows how to win. Obviously was over at Clemson in their run. They know how to win football games. They know what success looks like. They know what off-field success looks like. It's just the on-field success, and they've just got to get consistent play on the field. They've got to get consistency in recruiting. It's still kind of yet to be known if these transfers, if the way that they're recruiting with the transfers, the amount of transfers they're bringing in, if that's going to be sustainable, if that's going to work on a year-in, year-out basis. So, they just need overall consistency to kind of catch up to UCF in that regard. Obviously, conference expansion is a whole nother layer to all of this. USF missing out on the Big 12, I think it's a blessing in disguise, and I've said it a few times, is they needed to get their house in order. They needed to get the facilities right. They needed to get the off-field product right, the marketing. They needed to get the on-field product right next in order to be able to truly catch up and be able to do what they need to do to catch up in that rivalry. And just catch up in the grand scheme of the state of Florida. I mean, there's no reason why USF can't compete with the amount of talent in the Bay Area. Obviously, they don't have the endowment Florida has, Florida State, Miami, but they should at least be competing with UCF on a regular basis. And they're just not doing it right now. So just consistency at the end of the day is really what they need.
Yeah, well, that answered my question that I was going to ask as well. But Will, my friend, thank you so much for coming on, especially on pretty last minute notice. Let everybody know where they can follow you and on Twitter and online.
Yeah, so bulls247.com is where all the latest USF content is. Be kind of wrapping up this Howard game throughout to today and tomorrow, and then kind of starting my prep for Florida on Wednesday after we hear from Jeff Scott tomorrow. So taking a look at the Gators from an outside perspective, take a look at what USF needs to do to at least be competitive in that game. You follow me on Twitter at WTurner247, and our site Twitter is at Bulls247. So a lot of good content over there as we keep it rolling with USF. I know there's a lot of Gators fans down in Tampa. So it'll be fun. I'm gonna head up to the Swamp. It'll be my first opportunity to get to catch a game up there. It should be nice. It'll be a good time.
Yeah. Well, if you look outside of your window here in Tampa right now, it is very swamp-like outside. So
yeah, I went golfing yesterday and it was really humid.
Yeah.
So, it's raining. It's raining.
It is pouring down rain. I live down here in downtown Tampa, and it is
bring a poncho, Will. Bring a poncho.
Yeah.
Bring a poncho.
I'll be on field too, so yeah, gonna need it.
Flex on them, Will.
Yeah.
What?
So I need it.
Will, who's that girl? She was like the fan of the year. Pickles.
That's how you lead the conversation.
Lauren. Yeah.
Lauren. That's who led the charge against me. Oh man.
Yeah,
she led the charge against me 2 years ago.
She's a friend. I've gotten a chance to get to know her a little bit.
We had a good time. We had a good time with it. We went back and forth. Yeah, we had fun with it. She had more fun as I was getting yelled at. But yeah.
Yeah, she's funny. She's a hoot. She's been out in Vegas the last week and a half. It was kind of like, man, because UCF lost, USF won, and the Bucks won. So she was like, I just need to stay out in Vegas all the time.
Well, shout out to Pickles. I got nothing but nice things. Got nothing but nice things to say about her.
No, I appreciate it, guys, man. I love. It was cool to be on a roll up podcast. I was a huge fan of the Big Three.
Oh my God.
Newberg actually trained me.
Nice.
Trained being a loose word, but he got me the job.
Yeah,
so I'm always grateful for Newberg for getting me started with 24/7. But man, I was a huge fan of a Big Three roll up back in the day. I'm sad it's no more.
Oh,
it's the roll up, man. Still good vibes, man. Check us out.
Absolutely.
I love it. Well, thanks so much, Will. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon, my friend.
Hey, thanks a bunch, guys. Appreciate y'all.
Thanks,
man.
Thanks, Will. Bye-bye.
Another
Will
question.
Turner.
Real quick. She's a hoot. What is that? What is she's a hoot? Break that down for me, guys. I've heard that before.
But she's a hoot?
Hoot. Break that down. I didn't know where things come from.
I
know what it means, but where does that
I
come
think
from?
like to like be a hoot is like to be funny.
Right.
So she's just funny. I think people say
I
kind of
get that.
sarcastically more than anything.
But where did it derive?
Oh,
That's gotta be a Southern thing.
Yeah.
I don't know who the first person to say she's a fucking hoop.
Probably the same person that said. Did you know in Alabama they say when it's like a sun shower outside, they say the devil's beating his wife?
What?
Yeah.
Bro, they say some wild stuff in Alabama.
Why is that? Where does that come from? The devil's beating his wife.
Devil's beating his wife when it's a sun shower. It's not maybe a Southerner can like a real Southerner can hop in the YouTube chat and give us some entomology.
Shout out to Cassidy Hill. She would say stuff. She's from Mobile. She would say stuff, and I would look at her and go, "What?" Something was like, "Oh, they were so close you could like swing a dead cat at it," and I'm like, "Excuse you?
Yeah, that's
swinging a dead cat." She's like, "Oh, this is what it means." I'm like, "Why would you ever say that?"
When you said swinging and then the next word started with a D,
yeah,
I was worried, Nick. I was like, this is a PG-13 show.
This is a family podcast.
This is the family podcast. Let's see here. Let's give a shout out, Nick Silk. We got a new sponsor on the way. Love these guys. Have always loved their products. They did some Stadium and Gale stuff for us a couple years ago. We need to get some new hats out there. We'll work on some of that. Everybody knows my favorite bar in Gainesville is Balls. I have a Balls last call hat. I got a lot of people saying, "Hey, is that a Balls UF hat?" Didn't know that they sold gear. They don't. So our friends over at Dome Hats, the newest sponsor of Stadium and Gale, do. You can go visit domehats.com. You can get your Cam was innocent hat, your Rex was robbed hat, your cock block hat, whatever it might be. Best products out there for hats. Jeff Whitaker, CEO, former UF walk-on. And then Chris, also a UF kicker. Two guys I founded the company based in my favorite city, Jacksonville. But great stuff. Visit domehats.com. Use promo code Stadium Gale. So just Stadium and then Gale for 15% off of your order. So again, Stadium Gale at domehats.com. Click the store button. Also, if you are in the market, maybe you're a promotional product, or maybe you are trying to create something for your business or company or family reunion, whatever it might be, they also do custom products as well. So again, domehats.com, Stadium Gale, all one word, for 15% off. Gentlemen, it is time to do our buy or sell segment, but it is also time to keep us honest. So let me pull up the.
Ooh, man, I know I got some lies off, man.
First off,
I didn't lie. Billy lied. Billy got to get it together, man. Billy lied. I told the truth.
Shout out to buy or sell Ben. Bro, that's such a dope trip that he's doing. Silk, you ran into him in New Orleans, right?
Right. Great. I love this whole thing. This is gonna be a movie one day in my mind.
Ben Chase. We need to make shirts, and we need to play me. We need to make shirts. No, Chasing 60.
Chasing 60. He should chase
Chasing
more.
60 is fire. I like
Chasing 60. We need to make shirts and just send the money to Ben to help fund his minivan driving around the country.
I don't think he's bought a ticket yet.
I need to get Ben. We need to get. I don't need to. We need to get Ben on the show and learn a little bit more about some of the logistics behind this, because that's nuts. That's awesome though. He was at the Texas-Alabama game on Saturday. He's been all over the place,
bro. He's having. I'm sure there's a lot to it. Like, that's a lot of driving by yourself.
That's a lot of miles.
I'm still recovering from the New Orleans trip. So I'm trying to figure out how he doing it, bro.
Bro, shout out to Ben. My guy's on the road trip of a lifetime.
I love it, man.
All right. So buy or sell from the Hating Ass Nick episode. Gators win. We all bought.
That's wild. People are like throwing it back at me. I made the name.
Yes, you did.
Man, that was applause.
We all bought that the Gators would win. We all lost. So we are all 0 for 1 starting it off. I am just pulling up some stats here. Number 2, Montreal Johnson leads the Gators in rushing attempts. I believe He does not. He only had 7, although he had a great 7 rushes. Trevor Etienne had 9. And I believe Naquan Wright had 10. He had 8. So we all bought and we all lost. So we're all 0-4-2. Gators throw for 2 or more touchdowns. Nick, of course, sold. Silk and I bought. Nick wins. Gators threw 2 games without a passing touchdown, unfortunately.
Stop making me and Nick Delatoro are like Bradgelina or some shit, man.
Yeah, I like it. It's been a year and a half. I don't know why I keep saying it, man. Don't know, man. Just gotta slow down here.
We're not an item, dog.
Yeah, he's shipping us.
Milk boys. All right, let's see. We have. Sorry, I'm just double checking here. Turnovers. Gators only get 1 interception, no other turnovers. Gators forced 2 turnovers. Silk and myself bought it. Nick sold. Gators do only end up with the 1 interception from Jervon Dexter.
Hating ass Nick did all right this week. Huh?
Yeah. So
buddy. I'm taking the lead.
Nick has 2. Silk and myself have 0. Gators have 3 or more catches by tight ends. I'm about 95% positive that did not happen. Let's see. Keon Zipperer has 2. And
Xander's dropped 1.
Xander's dropped 1. And he had 1. So it is a win for Dan and a loss for Silk and Nick. A good opportunity to use Nilk.
I'm missing terribly this week.
So Silk goes 0 for 5. Dan goes 1 for 4.
Me and AR had a bad week.
Goes 2 for 5. It's pretty bad overall.
You went 1 and 4. 1, 4, 5, or 1 and 4. You said you went 1, 4, 4.
Yeah, 1 and 4. Sorry, 1 win and 4 losses.
I think that means we're all tied up. I was 1 back on the 2 of you after week 1.
Yep.
So I'm 1 up this week.
We're gonna have Ben Chase and 60 add a opportunity to add in what our buy or sell record is. Right now, none of us are looking too good, so please don't take these bets to the bank. Let's see. In other betting news, Anthony
rather be
Richardson,
positively wrong, right? Than negatively wrong, right?
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Still the same results though.
In other news, Anthony Richardson's Heisman odds go from plus 1,400 to plus 2,000. Still the highest ranked quarterback in the state and 6th overall behind Stroud, Williams, Bryce Young, Stetson Bennett, and J.J. McCarthy. The Gators, I believe, are 24.5-point favorites, but I am going to double check that over USF. Yeah, Gators 24.5-point favorites. Over under is 59. So the buy or sell for this segment is the Gators win by 24.5 or more. Nick, buy or sell?
Buy. Florida's covering.
So
buy or sell what again? I'm sorry.
The Gators beat USF by 24.5 points.
I'm buying it. For sure. They better come out pissed off and do what they got to do.
I'm going to buy that as well. Over under is 59. Buy or sell. The Gators score, or the combined score is more than 59.
Gators score more than what?
No. The combined score is more than 59 points.
No, I don't think they're gonna do a lot of scoring, so I'll sell it.
What was the last year? Last year was 42-20. So damn, that's close. So we're going to take the under.
I'm going to take the over on this one. I think the Gators score a lot, and I also think the USF is going to score a few more points maybe than they did last year, maybe even in garbage time. Buy or sell. Anthony Richardson throws for more than 225 yards.
Sell.
Yeah, I heard you the first time, Nick.
325.
No, 225.
225. I'm buying that.
I'm going to buy that as well. Buy or sell. This is a fun one. Trevor Etienne and
ETN.
ETN. Sorry. I know how to spell it. Just mispronounce it a lot. Him and Montreal Johnson account for 75% or more of the rushes in this game from running backs.
That's weird though, because it's like you're only gonna have 3 running backs. Actually, if you get into some garbage time, you might get. I'm gonna sell. I think Florida, you get into some garbage time, and I think Lorenzo Lingard gets a bunch of carries. Late third, fourth quarter.
What's the buy sell? One more time.
Buy or sell that Trevor Etienne and Montreal Johnson combine for 75% or more of the rushes by running backs.
Yeah, I'm gonna sell that.
I am going to buy that. And only because I think Trevor Etienne has earned himself the opportunity to get some more playing time, and I still think that he is got an opportunity to make a big impact, and I think that Florida will be blowing out USF in this game. And finally, buy or sell the Gators secondary forces an interception.
I mean, they almost got to his USF, man.
I'm buying
it.
Buying it as well. So, Ben, if you could throw a tally of where we are at right now, that would be awesome. Gentlemen, any other thoughts before we close out today's show?
What do you guys want to see, like this USF game? We all think we're going to blow this team out. It shouldn't be competitive after the first half. So, what do you want? What do you want to see from offense and defense in this game?
Nick?
I mean, it's weird because I just sat here and said, like, you need to lean on people, you need to run the ball. I want to see Anthony Richardson get his confidence back. Like, he's too good of a player to be stuck in his head. So I want to see him get his confidence back, but I also want to see Florida just impose their will. This is a get right game. Like, you're coming off a loss. This is what the doctor ordered. You have more talent. You're bigger, you're stronger, you're faster than USF. Go out there and show that. And I want to see some of the younger guys get some looks. Maybe see Marcus Burke a little bit. You should have an opportunity to get younger guys some run this week.
Oh, man. What you got, Dan?
Yeah, no, I think on offense, I think you want to see Anthony Richardson return to form. You want to see him making good decisions. You want to see him build some confidence. USF is not good. They're not much better than they were last year. They did get a number of transfers, but I don't think that really helps them. I think you want to see him get consistency. And then on the defensive side of the ball, you want to see the linebackers really continue to improve in coverage because I think that Florida's going to play a number of really good linebackers this year. And if they don't figure it out against USF, they've got some big issues starting the week after with Tennessee.
Yeah, I want to see a lot of these times fans want to see the young boys get reps in games like this, but offensively, I want to see these boys work. I don't care if it's 4 quarters. I want to see them work on some stuff and then get out of here healthy. You know what I'm saying? Tennessee's a road game, just a live scrimmage. And I don't think we're going to be full on tackling in practice like that and being that physical. So I'm just seeing this as a full blown scrimmage and opportunities to just work on some things chemistry wise between AR and the wide receivers. Some of his touch stuff. It's just an opportunity to work. Defensively, we've already said I want to see how the linebackers with Ventrell out, see how these young boys can run with the tight ends, if they could cover a little better. And also with the safety. Let me see what McMillan looked back there. You know, give Kamari Wilson and some of those guys opportunity. Now on the defensive side of the ball, I would love for some of the young boys to get some opportunities when we get up a big lead. So just play some of the young guys on defense. I think offense needs work and to get some chemistry stuff and to find our identity. So that's what I hope to see out of this game.
Donovan Pickmillan. I might go out on a limb and say he gets an interception this week.
Wow.
You play that boy, man.
Yeah, I haven't seen him a ton. Saw him a little bit on special teams during that game, but haven't seen him a lot. But certainly, I think looking back, pretty proud of the defense so far this season. Let's see in other news, don't know if we have a ton. Scott Frost gets fired from Nebraska. Could have worked 3 more weeks and they could have saved $7.5 million, but they chose to fire him a bit early. Big bread there in Cornhusker land. Are you guys surprised it didn't work out?
No,
I don't know enough about Nebraska football. I mean, I know that they're not probably ever going to restore to greatness, but
listen, if Scott Frost can't do it, I mean, you're gonna get a kid from South Florida to go to Lincoln, Nebraska. You're gonna get a kid from California to go to Lincoln, Nebraska. You have to go and recruit Ohio. They're not going to Nebraska. They're going to Ohio State, or they're going to Michigan. They're going to Kentucky. Nebraska's it's a bad job.
Yeah, it's tough.
They used to run the option, and they were on TV, and everyone wanted to go there, and it ain't a job anymore. Like Nebraska's like the worst team. Like they're worse than Rutgers in the Big Ten. That's tough.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're very different than Rutgers. I mean, Nebraska is a cool campus. Lincoln's a fine town. It's not too far from Omaha. Certainly not the most ideal situation, but you're right. I think from a recruiting perspective, especially a lot of that homegrown talent from, the Midwest there, it's now so much easier to travel and go elsewhere. You can watch games from teams from, all over the country on TV at all times. So, the want and need to stay home just so your family can see you is certainly not there anymore. But very surprised it went as poorly as it did over there. I know that there's a lot of just weird situations, weird games, but a lot of Gators fans clamored for Scott Frost instead of Dan Mullen. Both fired within 2 games of each other.
Both are very rich.
Both are very, very rich. Yep.
I think Heupel is just pretty much staple alongside Josh Heupel. That seems like the brains of the offense that they had at UCF. Heupel's at Tennessee now.
Yep.
Things a little different, but I just think Scott Frost wasn't the brains behind that when it came to play calling.
Yeah, it might have got a little bit of lightning in the bottle. Certainly the schedule wasn't all that great. They did beat Auburn, but certainly just a little surprised he couldn't figure out much. I know they've got a number of names. Matt Campbell, Mark Stoops was on that list.
I don't think Mark Stoops is going anywhere. This is a cool name to bring up right now.
But I guess it just depends on how much money you can throw at somebody. Does a Matt Campbell leave in Iowa State to go to Nebraska? I don't know.
I'll go coach Nebraska
from Kansas.
I'll do it with a nice buyout.
And Dominican Sue was listed at 25-1 odds.
Don't send me an invite, man.
Hey, you want to be the DB coach, linebackers? You can coach whatever you want.
I might turn it down, dog. Be
recruiting coordinator. Well, I don't know what your buyout's going to be, man. but I'm going to have a nice fat buyout. We're going to lose a lot of games, and I'm going to.
I don't think my family's not going to come with me to the cornfields, Nick.
Yeah, for the right buyout. Listen, we're getting fired in 2 years.
That's the goal. Coach Biles. Yeah, we are getting fired.
We might not make it to November.
Yeah, you might pull a Will Trigger, get fired even before your second year.
I like it.
Beautiful. The quicker I get to the buyout, the better.
You got yourself a DB coach, man. Let's do it.
There, we're in.
I love it. All right, boys. True Classic Tees, go visit them. Use promo code SG25. So True Classic Tees, that's TEES.com/SG25 or SG25 at checkout. Great premium quality t-shirts, workout apparel, polos, and dress shirts as well. TrueClassicTees.com, promo code SG25. Silk, I think you have the song of the week this week, my friend.
Let me see what I got here, man. Let me get Blacks. Talk to me nicely. Just something simple. Get us up out of here. BLXST.
Oh, I remember. Because you played that a few years ago with a mob.
I did. I played him earlier.
Oh, you did. Maybe it was you.
Yeah.
I played him earlier this year. I like him. I mean, I don't know what in the world, how he came up with that spelling, but I like his music.
That's how they doing it these days, man.
Well, we appreciate everybody that watched on YouTube, everybody that did a super chat. Boys, we will see you at the same corner and same time next week, hopefully after a win over the South Florida Bulls.
And stop being toxic fans, man. Y'all got to know how to take wins and losses, like stand-up gentlemen, man. Some of y'all like embarrassing.
You're embarrassed?
No, I'm not really embarrassed. They're embarrassing themselves.
Right.
They're embarrassing me. But some of y'all are embarrassing, man. Take a loss like a man, bro. Some of y'all look crazy and just you go from AR hype to just, the kid's trash. Like, you got to have some type of middle ground or some type of balance in life, man. AR is going to be all right. Y'all just
somebody tweeted me the other day about sitting him and starting Jalen Kitna, who I don't even believe would be the next person off the bench right now. But to start
the next person
Jalen
off the
Kitna,
bench is Wildcat offense.
But if you scroll down like 6 tweets that he said, he was pumping that AR Heisman train, right? A lot can change in 5 tweets.
A lot can change in 5 tweets.
Can't be unhinged, man. Gotta keep it together, bro. Losses are gonna happen in this game, bro. Like, it tells you a lot how you take an L, and how you whatever. We out of here, man. Same corner, same time.
Same time. Hey, I'll be reporting from Vegas next week. So, boys,
look at you, man. You and Ben, man, just 2 in a row.
That's right. I need to see if Ben's gonna be out in Vegas sometime. All right, boys. Same corner, same time next week.
For sure.
We're gonna
need the outro music too.